Hey guys! Today I want to talk with you about Twisted Love by Ana Huang. This romance novel was originally published in 2021 and it's the first book in the Twisted series, which contains a total of 4 novels. As per usual, we will start this video with a short synopsis, then proceed to the non-spoiler review and wrap it all up with the spoilers. If you haven't read Twisted Love yet, then do not worry, I will make sure to let you know when the spoilers begin. In Twisted Love, we follow Ava Chen, a 22-year-old photography student, and Alex Volkov, a 26-year-old genius billionaire, as well as Ava's brother's best friend. Despite surviving a traumatic experience at a young age, Ava is a sunny, happy person that radiates warmth and is clearly loved by her friends. Meanwhile, Alex is someone people tend to be afraid of. And for good reason. Alex is single-mindedly driven by his anger, his desire for vengeance on the people who wronged him. And while his anger is often justified, his dealing mechanisms leave a lot to be desired. Ava and Alex, despite having one very important person in common, do not know much about one another, nor have any desire of being in each other's lives. This, however, is about to change as Ava's brother Josh is leaving for a year, and like an overprotective brother he is, Josh tasks Alex with keeping his little sister safe, consequently forcing Ava and Alex to look for a common ground. Now, to be completely honest with you, for quite some time I simply refused to read Twisted books. Not just this one, all the books in the series. The premise of them just sounded so fan-fiction-like. The synopsis provided by, I assume, the author herself sounded cryptic, and all these "he has a heart of ice, but for her he'd burn the world" are cheesy as hell. And what confused me even more was that these books, which I personally would only buy on my Kindle, as I don't particularly have any desire in hoarding smut on my bookshelves, stayed week after week among the top 10 most sold English books in the bookstore I currently work in. So after months of hesitation, I finally gave in. But in my own silent protest, I decided to skip the first book in the series and read the second one instead. Twisted Games, a princess and bodyguard love story, was not good. Instead of quitting right there and then, I proceeded by reading Twisted Lies, the 4th book in the series, which was not good but also wasn't completely awful. It had its fair share of issues, that's for sure, but at times I even found it somewhat entertaining, which encouraged me to go back to the beginning and give Twisted Love a try. Twisted Love is bad. It's not good, it's not passable, it's just plain bad. And I have no doubt that if I would have started my Twisted journey with Twisted Love, I would have not even considered checking out the other 3 following novels. At this point, I can say that I have read all 4 books in the series, and Twisted Love is without any doubt in my mind the worst one. This book doesn't really have anything going for it. The characters are unlikable, the plot is messy, over-the-top dramatic, and yet somehow at the same time boring. The main couple's relationship progression is completely screwed up, though to be honest, there are some serious issues with the pacing throughout the whole book. And if all of that wasn't enough, the plot lines are easily predictable and the dialogue is beyond cringy. Now, I can look past a lot of that. I do realize that Twisted Love is the first book in the series, and for some authors it does take a while to find their voice, to learn how to pace their stories better. It takes time and experience, and taking into consideration that 4 Twisted books were released in a span of 15 months or so, I suspect that not a lot of time was dedicated to the editing process of the novels. In addition to that, I want to point out that my dislike of this book has nothing to do with Alex being problematic. I just do not care how dark or toxic romance novels can get. If I start a book knowing that the main characters are borderline sociopaths, then I just turn off that part of my brain that wants to judge them for their non-realistic behavior. If a book hero spends his afternoon going around killing everyone who looked at his love the wrong way, then so be it. I guess that's just his way of showing love. If she falls in love with a man that abducts her, then I guess I'll just celebrate the forced proximity. I mean, if she is into him because he's a controlling asshole, then who I am to judge? Look, I can get pretty much behind anything as long as the author manages to convince me that these 2 are the end game. I don't care how toxic their relationship might be to me looking through the real world lens, as long as I can actually feel them yearning for one another. That's not something that I can say about Alex and Ava, however. Their relationship comes completely out of nowhere and it's not developed in the slightest. It goes from I don't know you and I don't care about you to I'd drain all the lakes and the ocean so you would feel safe again in the speed of light. There's no explanation, no justification for the sudden 180 in their dynamic. I can't define this novel as a slow burn because slow burn requires for our main leads to pine after one another. It requires all those little conversations and little touches and the slow build up and the overwhelming tension which would culminate in our couple simply not being able to stay away from one another any longer. But I can't define this as an instant love either. Ava and Alex are not friends, they're not enemies, there isn't any kind of meet cute or history between them. They literally couldn't care less about one another until one chapter they do, for some reason. To me, Alex felt like a cartoonish, misunderstood anti-hero dark love interest with zero charisma. In a way, it felt like the author tried to make him so cool, just the coolest man you could ever imagine. Smart, unattainable, rich, dangerous. He only drinks whiskey, he's too cool to care about other people. He never kisses on the mouth and he avoids intimacy because only weak people have feelings. I think I have read at least 20 other romance novels featuring Alex Volkov as love interest. There's absolutely nothing original or interesting about him. Unfortunately, the same thing can be said about Ava. Ava is a weak and bland heroine. All she needs in her life to be happy is the love of a good man, or any man to be honest, as long as he is hot and the love is unconditional. The only thing that I found remotely interesting about her was her past trauma, and while the author could have done something interesting out of this by creating a character who's struggling with PTSD, yet is still somehow managing to stay optimistic and see the good in people, instead, her trauma comes and goes depending on what the book requires at that specific moment. And her trust in people, as well as her over-the-top sunshine personality, makes her seem naive and somewhat out of touch with reality. But let's continue this conversation in the spoiler review. If you haven't read Twisted Love yet, but you feel like you want to see for yourself what all this fuss is about, now it's a great time for you to click off this video. As you might have already understood from the non-spoiler review, Twisted Love has this one thing that I absolutely cannot stand: boring, predictable, and completely nonsensical characters. I know we have already talked a bit about Ava, but there's one thing about her character that I have left out before, as I didn't want it to spoil anything, and that's that she is so blinded by her mommy/daddy issues that her love towards Alex for majority of the book feels like nothing more substantial than a search for the love she was denied during her childhood. I mean, Alex himself pointed out that she is so desperate for love that she will do anything to get it. And instead of taking an opportunity to show us that Ava's feelings for Alex is not an unhealthy fixation, a type of fixation she could feel towards anyone who would be controlling enough to claim her, we just sweep it all under the rug and pretend that these two are the soulmates who finally found each other. In addition to that, I need to point out that Ava really needs to get her priorities straight. Do you guys remember this gem of a sentence? What should have been one of the best nights of my life had turned into one of the worst. That's what Ava thought after she was supposed to meet Alex for a date night to celebrate her acceptance to the photography program. Alex, however, showed up late and lied straight to her face, pointing out that she's safer if she doesn't know what he has been up to. Plausible deniability and such. And while that sucks for sure, let's rewind a little bit and look at the events that happened just days or weeks before this date. Ava learned that it was her own father that tried to kill her twice because he learned that his wife was unfaithful and Ava is not his biological daughter. An action that consequently pushed Ava to blame her own mother for something as horrific as attempted murder, which then consequently led to Ava's mother losing the custody of her children, being defined as mentally unstable and dangerous, and finally taking her own life. But yes, Alex showing up late for their date can easily be compared to one of the real problems she has been dealing with, and therefore their failed evening can be defined as one of the worst nights of Ava's life. As for Alex, by the way, I do not know why he's so obsessed with having Ava in his life. Like, why exactly her? Why is she the one he was willing to change his rules for? Why is she the one he abandoned his job for and was contemplating abandoning his revenge for? All we get is that Ava is the light to his darkness, which is, well, obviously selfish. The only reason for his love, as far as I understood, is that she makes him feel better about himself. And so we have it, a young woman desperate for love no matter the cost, and a selfish, morally very grey guy who has more privilege and more control over others than he should have. I feel like I've already seen this very similar dynamic on Euphoria. And yet, somehow, Ava and Alex are not the most annoying characters in this book. That reward goes to dear old Michael. I'm actually convinced that Michael is a cartoon villain. I mean, he even had his bad guy's monologue where he could explain his whole evil plan in detail. But then again, Ava Huang wants me to believe that Michael is so clever that he managed to push his daughter into the lake, then successfully convinced the police and all the officials involved that it was actually Ava's mother who tried to kill her, to then just try to kill her again, to finally give up on the idea and just, well, suck it up and pretend to be a decent parent to Ava for over 10 years. I mean, he got away with 2 counts of attempted murder, to just walk into an office that he has never been in before in this day and age and confess to all the things he did in front of a witness nonetheless, without even considering for a second that all of this might be recorded and used against him. So which one is it? Is Michael this mastermind criminal, or is he an idiot who got lucky? Very exceptionally lucky. And that's definitely not the only plot-related question that stayed with me after I finished reading Twisted Love. Like, for example, why would a children's summer camp post a list of names of all the attendees online for everyone to see? I mean, it's not that they're posting the photos and the descriptions of people actually working in the said camp. It's literally a list of children's names. Children who will be away from their home and out in the wild. I mean, that has to be some sort of privacy violation right there, isn't it? Or how exactly does a cleanup team work? Now I understand the basic concept of showing up to, hide the body and all the evidence of the crime, but do they just stand nearby every single day intercepting all the calls coming to the police? All ready with the police uniforms and emergency vehicles? Because if I understood correctly, it wasn't Alex who called them, it was Ava. She called the police, 911, and instead the cleanup team answered. Honestly, if they are on call all the time, I do hope they're at least paid for all the time they spend waiting around. That's the least Alex could do. Oh, and the whole 4:44 a.m.? As in Ava waking up from her nightmares at exact 4:44 basically every time, and then learning that this is an hour her mom died. Did we need that? I mean, it makes no sense. This novel, as far as I understand, doesn't have any other supernatural elements, so why put in something that can only be explained by magic? Overall, this book is so packed with over-the-top dramatic storylines. Let's look together. We have Alex's family being murdered and him having to actually witness his family being brutally killed off while still being a child himself. His uncle being the one who ordered his brother's murder because his brother's wife did not reciprocate his feelings for her. Then the same uncle being the one to raise Alex while knowing that he is executing revenge on the wrong person. And eventually, Alex being the one to shoot his uncle for killing his whole family. Then we have Ava being brought up believing that her mother tried to kill her and then killed herself, to just learn that her father is not actually her biological father, and he was the one who tried to kill her twice. I'd say give this amount of drama to Gillian Flynn and she will provide you with a mystery thriller masterpiece, but in the hands of Ana Huang, it unfortunately felt like a soap opera at best and a wannabe fan fiction at worst. Which also raises another question. Why in the novel, which is already so packed with everything else, did we need to waste multiple chapters on this emotion experiment. It adds nothing to the storyline of the book. If anything, it weirdly feels like the storyline divided the book into two parts, as in the author wasn't sure herself what was the direction she wanted to go into. The experiment to bring out Alex's emotions by doing silly things such as watching movies together or going on picnics sounds like something out of a rom-com. Well, everything after that just screams drama, trauma, and danger. It even felt like the author changed her mind mid-chapter while writing about the emotion experiment. Like she got bored doing it and then consequently decided to wrap up the storyline as fast as humanly possible. I guess, and that's just a guess, the storyline might have been introduced to us as a way to show Ava and Alex getting to know each other and starting to fall for one another. But, and that's a very important but, it didn't actually manage to do that because Ana Huang didn't manage to stick all the way through it. Just because I'm being told that they are spending time together doesn't mean that I will perceive it in the same way I would have if I would have actually seen them spending time together. Instead of them bonding, Ava one day just wakes up thinking that she wants Alex just because and starts making moves on him, which then leads to them having sex, a little bit of a different kind of sex than Alex usually has because she is allowed to look at him during it, once again just because, and then they are instantly dating. As far as I'm concerned, even after Ava and Alex starts dating, they still don't even talk with one another. All they do is have sex. This relationship is solidly physical. By the end of the book, we are led to believe that Ava and Alex have this one-of-a-kind, true soulmate type of relationship without getting any actual proof through the book of that being the case. And the grand gesture that leads to Ava forgiving Alex is him stalking her for a year after he made sure that she understands that he will kill any man she might get involved with. Which obviously gave Ava a lot of space to find herself and figure out what she really wants from life. Oh, romance. I can already feel those butterflies in my stomach. But that's just my opinion. What about yours?